Hi everyone, welcome to today's science lesson. In a slight change to the schedule, it's Thursday, which is obviously nice and new for us, but obviously that's because tomorrow is an inset day, which is just to allow all the teachers to get ready for your imminent return. So this is the last live science lesson before obviously coming back into school, and there will be parts of this session, and I will talk about those when we get there, that will be easier when we get back into school to explore further. But just to get us to make a good start and to make sure that we've got the required knowledge when we do come back into school, what we're going to be doing is exploring some of the bits that you can do from home. Obviously, when we do get some of the bits, the experiment in particular, you might be able to do and conduct this at home yourself. So if you can, brilliant. So stage 5, animals including humans, and we're on flow number 2, and we're going to be describing differences today. So the key questions that we're going to be answering are: what changes happen to our bodies as we move through the life cycle stages? So in last week's session, we looked at the different stages of a human life cycle, and I received loads of great pieces of work about that. So thank you if you were one of those people that sent them. And we're going to be exploring that further today. And hopefully we're going to be able to say and describe the changes as humans develop as they get to old age. So this is the bit that we looked at last week. So if you do click here, that will take you to a short video and a short link, which just recaps our learning from last week. And all I'd like you to do using this slide is just think about what you can remember. So what can you remember about the different stages of a life cycle? It might just be a few facts. It might be some information, or if you didn't share it last week, you might share your life cycle with me. That'd be great if you didn't already. So what we're going to be doing, and as can be seen from the diagram here, is we're going to be doing a little bit of an investigation. So just to start us off, what we've got is a concept cartoon, and that is posing some different ideas that may or may not be true. And we're going to explore, obviously, this question here: do we slow down as we get older? So straight away, you might think of some answers to that. Some of you might be thinking yes, some of you might be thinking no. So everyone is talking about whether people slow down or not as they get older. Who do you agree with? So there's me here, and I say, I think that the older you get, the faster you are. So the point that I'm making in that one there, and it may or may not be true, we're going to investigate it, is that as people get through into the older stages of their life cycle, they get faster. Mr. Taylor, he says, I think that the younger you are, the faster you are. Babies are really fast. Again, he may or may not be true. Then we've got Miss McLaughlin, and she says, I think that adolescents and adults are the fastest. Usain Bolt is an adult. So if you don't know who Usain Bolt is, he's, I believe, the current world record holder for the 100 meters. So technically the fastest person on the planet. And Miss McLaughlin is saying he's an adult, so adults must be the fastest. And Mr. Clark, who's over here, is saying, I don't think that it matters how old you are. It depends on the muscle fibers in your body. So 4 differing points of view, and hopefully our experiment will explore who is correct and who's not correct. Maybe different aspects of what different people have said may or may not be true, but we'll have a look. So what we need to make sure of is that we're making our investigation fair. So what is going to change? Well, the age of the person. Okay, so we're going to be looking at different ages of person. So thinking about our human life cycle, the different stages are going to be what are called our independent variable. Okay, so these questions will be important when we get to the checkpoint, and are obviously important whenever we do any investigation. Okay, what will we be measuring? Well, we'll be measuring how long they take to run. So obviously, it'll be easier when we get into school to complete this experiment. But if you can do it at home, you might be able to, if you've got younger brothers or sisters, could be the babies or the children. You could be obviously the child. If you've got older brothers and sisters, they could be the adolescents. Parents could help you by being the adults. And if you've got any grandparents or great-grandparents, they could obviously volunteer themselves to take part as well. Obviously in a safe environment, because I know at the moment we are still under lockdown regulations, so we have to bear that in mind when we're doing our experiments. So if they are all in your household or in your bubble, that should be fine. But obviously, if you can't do this experiment, don't panic, because we will do it when we're back in school. And what will we keep the same? Well, the distance that they're going to run, and sorry, that's going to be called our control variable. Okay, so 3 different variables: our independent variable, which is what's going to change, which is the age of the person; our dependent variable, which is what we're going to measure, how long they take to run; and our control variable, which is what we're going to keep the same, and that is the distance. Okay, and that's going to help to keep our investigation there. So variable, which we've talked about already, are these things here. So just going back to these slides, is independent, dependent, and control. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to complete this results table. And again, obviously, this will form part of the representation. So again, don't panic if you don't do this. There will be later tasks that you can do without the experiment. Obviously, this will just help us as we move along. So all I'd like you to do is record the age of the people taking part and how long it took them to cover the whatever distance you asked them to run. Okay, make sure you keep that distance the same. If you're not sure of the rules, they're here. Okay, so the age of the person can be different. You might have a couple of brothers or sisters, moms, dads, nans, granddads, whoever's going to take part. And you're just going to jot down their age. What you're going to measure is how long it takes them to run. And remember, that distance or how long they're going to run is going to be the same. So it might be your garden, it might be a path, it might be your living room, depending on where you can, depending on where you've got the space. Okay. But again, if you want to make some videos of that, it would be really interested to see those. So please make sure you do send them across to your teachers. And obviously filling in their age and how long it took them to complete the short run. Okay. Then obviously what you found out. We could record that in a graph, but the table is fine for now. As I say, we will be having another go at doing this experiment when we come back to school. And we'll think about this question here. What could we do to improve our investigation? So these are the bits that you can really have a go at home now. So if you couldn't do the experiment, these are bits that you could do together at home, obviously. So what muscles are used for running is the big question. And again, we've got a picture from the 100 meters. And here is the man I was talking about before, Usain Bolt. They're currently the fastest man on the planet. But then we've got obviously some equally as fast people. They just don't hold the world record. And you can watch that on YouTube. So if you just type in 100-meter world record, you will be able to see the race where Usain Bolt set that. And I think that was in England where he set it. I'm not sure where the Olympics were that year. I feel like it was when it was in Great Britain, but I might be wrong. So if I am wrong again, send your messages in to tell me I was wrong. But what this page is asking you to do is to find out about the different muscles that human bodies use when they're running. And again, this is a GCSE link, so it is quite a tricky link to watch or to have a look at. But it is really important that we understand, obviously, what muscles we use. And that will help us when we're thinking about our concept cartoon, which was this slide here. So Mr. Clark talks about muscle fibers. So you might find out that that is actually what is important when we think about running. Okay. So if that is important, how do elite athletes, that's athletes that compete professionally, develop their muscles? Okay. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to research that question, and you could produce a poster or an information leaflet just to tell me how you can train your muscles to be a better runner. And again, there are some links, which are these ones in pink here, that can be clicked on, and they will be attached, obviously, to the timetable as well. But if you're not sure, again, just send a quick message to your teacher, and we'll be able to send you those links if you can't find them. But a quick YouTube search as well. So if you just type in running, how to teach kids to sprint correctly, we'll bring you to that video, or how to run and sprint the proper form. So it might teach you a good technique which you can use with sports day coming up in the summer term to make you an even faster runner. Okay, so just producing a short piece of information just about how elite athletes develop their muscles. So how do they make themselves into better athletes? Or for example, how does Usain Bolt make himself quicker than the other Olympic sprinters? So, a few checkpoint questions. Results can be displayed using what? A table, B, a graph, C, a chart, or D, all of the above. Okay. Remember, just answering your questions either on a Google Doc or a piece of paper, and make sure you record them all before we get to the answers, which is in a few slides time. Question 2. When you carry out an investigation, there are many things, factors, which can change or vary. What are these factors called? Are they called measurements, variables, graphs, or results? Now think about the earlier slide where we talked about those. Okay, so is it A, B, C, or D? Just jot your answer down. Question number 3. What does a fair test mean? A, everyone in the group gets to have a go. B, everyone's ideas are contributed. C, only one variable is changed while the rest are kept constant or the same. D, each thing that is being tested is treated fairly. So what does a fair test mean? A, B, C, or D? Next question. Number 4, how many variables should you change during an investigation? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is it A, B, C, or D? How many things you should change, or how many variables you should change during an investigation? Remember, these keywords, variables, are really important. Question 5. Before you carry out your investigation, what should you make? A graph, a variable, a prediction, or a cup of tea? I know which one I'd pick, but it's not the right answer. So think about what we were looking at on that yellow sheet, which was called our concept cartoon. What are those teachers doing on there? What are myself, Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Clark, or Mr. Taylor doing? What are we making? Are we making a graph, a variable, a prediction, or a cup of tea? Right, now, before I click any further forward, if you don't want to find out the answers just yet, make sure you pause the video now. If you do want to find out the answers, then obviously keep pressing play. So answers were, number 1 was D, number 2 was B, number 3, was C, number 4 was A, and number 5 was C. So massive well done if you got all 5 of those right. Again, please make sure you share your scores with your teachers. Give yourself a star for each correct answer. If you did get 5, give yourself 5 more bonus stars, so a maximum of 10 there. Remember, we do transfer those into dojos, so please make sure you do send them across. So, onto your independent tasks. Now, remember, if you couldn't do the investigation at home, you can have a go at these independent tasks. And I do really like the first fluency one. I'll talk to you about that. So, again, we've got another video here about a gentleman showing you how to run correctly, or the correct form. So you might have seen that from the links I shared with you earlier on. Okay, and what he's doing there is creating a how-to video. Okay, and what I would like you to do, and again, you can do this in your garden, your front room, wherever you've got space, bedroom, whatever. Okay, I'd like you to create a how-to video to explain the correct running form, or how best to train to run quicker. Now, you can use the video, make some notes from that, and obviously just replicate it yourself, but then make sure you share those videos with either myself or your teachers, or if it's easier for you to send it straight to Mr. Croxon, I'm sure Mr. Croxon will be able to put a great montage with some cool music, some training montage music to go with that. Okay, so a really fun activity just to create a how-to video about how to run correctly and how to train best to run. Okay, so this gentleman is doing a how-to video, so if you're not sure, go to this link just here. Okay, so this link is the one that will take you to that, and you can just have a watch of that and he'll explain it a bit further. Okay, if you've got a running track at home, that would be even better. Right, once you've done that, there are some thinking or probing questions to do. The first one is a show me task, and I'd like you to show me 3 different types of muscle. Now try and link them to this here. So when you're talking about this and doing your how-to video, you might talk about some muscles, particularly in your legs and arms, which are going to help you to run quicker. And when you're doing your research on Usain Bolt, which comes a little bit later on in the session, he might talk a little bit about what types of muscles he needs to train or focus on in order to make him the best possible sprinter. Okay? Just naming 3 different types of muscle. And I don't mind if you do different ones, but try to link them to your how-to video. Next question, always, sometimes, never. So that's asking you to pick whether it is always, sometimes, or never, and then just give a brief explanation as to why. So older people are not as fit as younger people. Is that always, sometimes, or never? Now be very careful with that, okay? So don't just automatically go never, because older people aren't as fit as young people, because I'm sure there is lots of older people out there that are much better than me, for example. But you need to do some research. How old are the people that hold the current records for different things? Are they older than you? Are they younger than you? Are they the same age as you? Could you set a world record? Okay. Next question. Always, sometimes, never. Humans get faster as they get older. Now, hopefully, from the other things that you've been doing throughout this session, you should be able to answer that anyway. But again, quick search of that should be able to bring up that answer. Once you've done that, we have a further extension or an explaining task. So again, we've got Usain Bolt there doing what's called the Mobot, because this guy here is called Mo Farah. And that's sort of his celebration, but you can see they're getting on quite well. And Dr. Spartacus says that long-distance runners, such as Mo Farah, who's this guy here, use different muscles to run than sprinters, such as Usain Bolt, which is this guy here. Is he correct? Explain your reasoning. And again, there's a link to help you with some research there. So it says the physical differences between long-distance runners and sprinters. Maybe you can see some of those physical differences straight away. Maybe you can't. If you can, obviously jot some of those down, but if you can't, make sure you do your research to find out how do these two gentlemen train? Do they train in the same way? Do they train differently? Could they train together? If they had a sprinting race, who would win? If they had a long distance race, who would win? Is there any reasons why? And just jotting those down, and again, sharing those with your teachers, please. Once you've done that, again, we've got Usain Bolt there, who's looking quite cool, much cooler than me. You might have seen him on some adverts and things. I think Virgin use him for their advert, sorry. And again, that's because he's called the Lightning Bolt, because he's fast, super fast. So again, we've got some questions. The current 100-meter Olympic world record is held by Usain Bolt. And again, there is the link to that. So if you just click on this link here on YouTube, it does take you, oh, I was wrong. Take it all back, I was wrong. I'm sure it was in there when the Olympics were in Great Britain, but maybe he set another one. Maybe that was for the 200 meters. Maybe you can tell me the answer to that. Okay. So it says during the Berlin Olympics, he ran 100 meters in 9.58 seconds. So pretty quick. If any of you were doing that during your research for 100 meters, then make sure you tell me, and we'll make lots of money with you as the world's fastest person. I'll just be your manager or something. So anyway, if you just click on that link, that will show you Usain Bolt running the 100 meters in 9.58 seconds. And what I'd like you to do then is do some research and create a fact file all about him. Okay, so creating a fact file about Usain Bolt, and he is an interesting character. So he does lots of things now as well. He's played for a football team. He's obviously set world records for the 100 meters, 200 meters. And maybe the relay as well. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Based on my previous Olympic knowledge of not getting where he set the world record correct, I'm probably very wrong with that as well. But anyway, just seeing what other things he's done, you can see he is from the country of Jamaica. So obviously, what's their Olympic history like? Have they had other record holders? Do they currently hold any other world records? Then secondly, I'd like you to research the 100-meter world record and investigate how it has changed throughout history. So who was the first world record holder in the 100 meters? What was their time? How does it compare to now? And just have a think about why that had happened. So is it to do with changes in humans? Have humans evolved since the very first world record in the first Olympics? Is it to do with the equipment? So have shoes changed? Have the clothing that they wear changed? So he's not actually wearing a cape. So don't get worried about thinking, is he some sort of superhero? That is the Jamaican flag that he's wearing to celebrate. But think about, has the equipment that they use when they're doing different Olympic events or swimming, for example, has that changed and allowed them to go quicker? So does technology play a part? And that would be interesting because next week as well is Science Week as well, which talks about different STEM things. So has technology allowed people to go quicker as well? Finally, scientists are currently working on something called nanotechnology that can be used to replace old body parts. So what might this change about humans living into old age? So if they can obviously change your body parts to replace old parts with nanotechnology, if you're a Marvel fan, you might know some superheroes that use nanotechnology already. So how could humans using that affect how long they live for? Would it mean that people would live forever? What impact would that have on the planet, for example? Okay, so here's some different versions of nanotechnology and how they work in the human body. So just doing a bit of research about that and thinking about this question: what might this change about humans living into old age? Okay. And that brings us to the end of the session. Lots and lots of different tasks there. So as I said at the start of the session, some of this we will carry on in school. So if you don't get a chance to have a go at or finish everything, don't panic, because as I say, we will have another look at these. Definitely at the experiment and some of the research things. Any of the things you do create, please make sure you share them with your teacher and myself, because we do love to see the work. And obviously just enjoy it, because there are some things on there that you might find out about, some great facts, definitely for general knowledge. Definitely if you are rubbish at the history of the Olympics like me and know when people set world records, that sort of stuff does come up in quizzes. And I don't know about you, but while we're in lockdown, quizzes seem to be the only things we can do. So any extra general knowledge facts that you can remember are always great. But I hope you enjoyed that session. Lots to take in, lots to do. But again, please make sure you send that over and enjoy the rest of your long weekend, because this will probably be the last time I see you live on Google or a pre-recorded lesson like this. Next time, hopefully, I'll be seeing you all on Monday morning back in school, because remember, it is compulsory to come back to school on Monday. Okay? I'm sure Mr. Clark, I know he sent out some information already, but I'm sure you get some more information about that before the week is through. But anyway, enjoy your long weekend, be safe, and I'll see you all on Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.